Good morning, everyone. Good morning, and thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Lisa Freeman. I'm the Governor's representative for Highway Safety and the Executive Director of the Louisiana Highway Safety Commission. Along with State Police Superintendent Colonel Robert Hodges, we welcome you to the Department of Public Safety campus and to State Police Training Academy. I'd also like to say thank you to the folks in our transportation realm who've joined us today, our partners, stakeholders, and colleagues from sister agencies, and of course, the members of our Louisiana Highway Safety Commission Board of Commissioners, Commissioner Fabian Blosch, thank you, sir. Commissioner Taylor, Gary Taylor, also with us. Thank you for joining us. I'm very honored to also be joined by the Commissioner of Insurance, Tim Temple, the Department of Transportation and Development Secretary, Joe Donahue, and StopDistractions.org CEO, Jennifer Smith. April is National Distracted Driving Awareness Month, and we've asked you here today because we need your help. Distracted driving is a pervasive threat to our pedestrians, our bicyclists, and our motorcyclists, and anyone who drives or rides in a car or a truck in Louisiana. Our speakers today will address a different aspect of the causes and consequences of distracted driving, and we will talk about solutions. We want drivers in Louisiana to pay attention to our message and to pay attention to the road while they're driving. Our first speaker is Commissioner Tim Temple.
Distracted driving is a problem on every road in Louisiana, and especially on our interstates and highways. When we think of distracted driving, we typically think of texting while driving, and that is true. However, distractions can be as minor as looking at your surroundings, eating and drinking, watching videos, and God forbid, sometimes people making videos while driving. It encompasses a lot of different types of distraction. Distracted driving also comes with a cost. Crashes involved in distracted driving kill an average of 9 people a day and thousands of people each year. About 8% of fatal crashes involve a distracted driver, according to the National Safety Council. Stats for the Insurance Initiative of Highway Safety show that drivers who spend the most time using their cell phones have the highest rates of near crashes and crashes. Finally, being involved in a crash could raise your auto rates. Even if you're not in a crash, but you get a ticket for texting or driving or other forms of distracted driving, it is possible your insurance rates can go up. So we all ask ourselves what can be done about this. 34 states and U.S. territories, including Louisiana, prohibit drivers from sending or receiving text messages while driving. All new drivers in Louisiana with learner's permits, and those under 17 years old, of which I have 2, are prohibited from using a wireless communications device while driving. All but Alabama and Missouri consider texting while driving a primary offense, meaning a law enforcement officer can give a driver a ticket for texting while driving without having committed any other offense. The GHSA also reports that Louisiana and 35 other states and DC ban cell phone use by novice drivers. My message is very clear. Don't use mobile phones or other electronic devices while driving. Use an app. There's several free apps out there. AT&T has a driver mode. There's also On My Way, It Can Wait, and Lifesaver. These apps are designed to help manage your incoming text and phone numbers and deliver them to you after you've stopped driving so that you're not distracted by that incoming message. Model safe driving behavior. As I mentioned before, I've got two teenage drivers. Be conscious of the actions that you do, they emulate. If they see you using a phone while driving or texting while driving, it's just a natural progression. They're going to think that that's okay. So model good behavior for your kids. If you must talk, if it's an important phone call that can't wait, find a safe place, pull over, park your car, have that conversation, or finish that or conclude that text message. But don't do it while you're driving. Use a cell phone mount. A lot of phones nowadays, a lot of people like to use the navigation feature that all these devices have nowadays. Cell phone mounts are really good. It puts it away, it keeps it out of your hand. It's in your view so that you can still use it and also pay attention to what you're doing while you're driving. Use a lot of some of the safety features on your vehicles. Many cars nowadays come with Bluetooth links, so you can link your phone to your speakers, to the microphone, so that you don't have to use. Sometimes that speaker on your speaker on your phone isn't quite clear and doesn't pick up. The microphone doesn't pick up clearly. The cars now, most of them have this type of feature. I would encourage you to use that. Currently, we have 3 laws that address distracted driving. It's illegal to use a cell phone for text messaging or posting to social networking sites while driving a vehicle or on any public highway. Drivers cannot wear headphones, and while drivers cannot use mobile devices while in school zones, they still do. During this year's legislative session, we will introduce a bill like the one we had last year to address and reduce distracted driving by banning handheld wireless devices while driving. The bill has bipartisan support last year, but it didn't pass, but we're going to try again. Here are some of the key provisions of that bill. Ban on handheld phones and similar devices. Drivers will be prohibited from using handheld wireless telecommunication devices while operating a motor vehicle on public roads. Allow for hands-free devices. The bill permits using hands-free device for GPS navigation and calls. Clarification of the law. The bill will consolidate existing distracted driving laws and penalties and clarify what constitutes the unlawful use of wireless devices. We'll be calling on and working with all the legislators to support this important life-saving legislation. Lisa, thanks for the opportunity, and I'll turn it back over to you.
Thank you to our Louisiana Highway Safety Commission partners for inviting us here today. Distracted driving has become a serious issue on Louisiana roadways. Troopers regularly witness the devastating effects of a driver distraction as we investigate preventable crashes across the state. Throughout April, troopers are intensifying our efforts to raise awareness about the dangers of distracted driving. Whether the distracted driving is with texting, social media, with passengers, or other non-driving activities, the dangers remain the same, and troopers will be on the lookout for the reckless behavior. When you drive distracted, you deprive yourself of critical seconds that could mean the difference between life and death. I urge you to make a commitment to yourself and to your loved ones that you will not drive distracted. The simple pledge can save lives. Please make good decisions while behind the wheel and call STAR LSP or STAR 577 if you witness any hazardous situations on our roadway. I look forward to the future work in keeping our Louisiana roadways safe and free from driver distraction. Thank you.
Every time we get behind the wheel, we make choices. Some are routine, buckling up, adjusting mirrors, setting the GPS. But some choices, like glancing at a text, reaching for a dropped item, or scrolling through a playlist, can have devastating consequences. Here in Louisiana, preliminary numbers for 2024 indicate that distracted driving was responsible for 180 deaths and 1,295 serious injuries. That's 180 empty seats at dinner tables, 1,295 families whose lives were turned upside down, and countless friends and loved ones left grieving or caring for someone who may never fully recover. These crashes didn't just happen because of bad luck. They happened because for just a few seconds, someone wasn't paying attention. A driver looked at their phone instead of the road. Someone adjusted their radio instead of watching traffic. A quick distraction became a life-changing moment. There is good news, though. These crashes are preventable. Louisiana has seen a 17% decrease in distracted driving fatalities since 2020, and we can keep that number going down, but it requires all of us to take responsibility. Our state has laws that prohibit texting while driving, with stricter rules for young drivers and those in school zones. But laws only work if people follow them. Safety isn't just about enforcement, it's about personal accountability. So here's what we all can do. Put the phone down. No message is worth a life. Set everything before you start driving. Adjust your GPS, choose your playlist, and send any necessary texts before you leave. Stay focused. If you're distracted, you're not driving safely. At DOTD, we are committed to making roads safer through better infrastructure, awareness campaigns, and public safety initiatives like this one. But we need your help. Every driver has the power to prevent a crash. Every trip is a chance to make the right choice. Let's work together to make sure no one has to experience the heartbreak of losing a loved one to a preventable crash. So drive smart, drive safe, and stay focused. Thank you very much.
So much. Thank you, Secretary Donahue. I think you have heard and you know intuitively that distracted driving is, as they say, a tough nut to crack. And so today we're happy to be here not just to raise awareness, but to really change behavior. We want to really end distracted driving in Louisiana. And as you've heard, with the passion and the force behind me and those throughout our state, we can do it. You've heard so much planning, you've heard the solutions. We can accomplish that goal with a multifaceted approach by the laws that we pass and enforce, through engineering and design improvements, and through education and persuasion. But eliminating distracted driving, we know it's not an easy end game, especially when we consider the connection between driving and the most commonly adopted distraction, and that's cell phone usage. These are things that really don't belong together. And convincing folks that cell phones and other distractions are dangerous sometimes can be an uphill fight. And often the problem doesn't seem as urgent as it is because the data that we have actually underestimates the problem. To a great measure, distracted driving is a self-reported offense. And without a primary, hands-free law, it is often hard to enforce. Without a handheld cell phone ban, people lapse into using their smartphones, not just to have conversations, as you've heard, but to play games, to watch video clips, and of course, to text. I'm sure you've all heard that when you send or read a text message, you're taking your eyes off of the road for about 5 seconds, 5 critical seconds, which is long enough to cover the length of a football field while driving at 55 miles per hour. That's basically driving blindfolded, which should never coexist in the same universe as operating a 2-ton machine. The fact that these things are unfortunately happening all over the country and in Louisiana is what's contributing to our fatal crash statistics. It's what's driving serious injury statistics, and it's what's adding to property damage losses. The preliminary data that we have indicates that more than 20% of motor vehicle crashes are distraction related. A big problem, no doubt, and a big problem calls for an all hands on deck moment. That's why we're here today as a team, each playing a part, legislating, enforcing, engineering, educating, and persuading. Like all teams, we have victories and we have continuing challenges. But when we talk about this particular fight, these stakes are much higher than any Final Four tournament. Roadway behaviors truly present life and death outcomes. But as you've heard, we have some very dedicated champions on the front lines for this critical moment. We know that Commissioner Tim Temple is in the game. He's trying to eliminate driving while distracted so our insurance rates will go down. He is not giving up. Colonel Hodges and state police are suited up. They are enforcing our existing distracted driving laws to keep everyone safer on the road. Colonel Hodges is not giving up. Secretary Donahue and the men and women of DOTD, they're in the game. They're designing and engineering and building safer roads while coming up with new ways to combat distracted driving. Joe Donahue is not giving up. And you're about to hear from Jennifer Smith, who is a leading advocate against distracted driving. She travels the country fighting for tougher distracted driving laws. She fights so that others will be spared the pain that she lives with. Jennifer is absolutely in until the final buzzer in. She clearly is not giving up. And so with that, I will leave you to Jennifer Smith, our next speaker, who is the CEO of StopDistractions.org. She persuades legislators throughout the country to pass tougher laws, working with private companies as well as nonprofit groups to spread the word that distracted driving puts all of us at risk. Although her organization was born of tragedy, Jennifer's mission is one of hope and one of results. She has helped numerous states pass distracted driving laws. You may have read about her in the New York Times, a story about distracted driving that actually won a Pulitzer Prize. Or maybe you saw her telling her story on Oprah. We are honored to have Jennifer Smith with us here today. Please help me welcome her.
Good morning, and thank you all for being here. And thank you, Lisa, Commissioner Temple, Colonel Hodges, and Secretary Donahue for your leadership and commitment during Distracted Driving Awareness Month and throughout the entire year. It's great to be back here in Louisiana, a place I've really grown to love over these years working on this law. As has been mentioned, this isn't just another cause for me, it's personal. In 2008, I lost my mom in a crash when a driver was talking on his cell phone. He didn't see the red light in front of him. He never touched his brakes. He T-boned her car at about 45 miles per hour, killing her instantly. He was simply doing what most of us do every day, having a simple conversation. He had never been in trouble, never had a speeding ticket, never had a parking ticket. He was talking to his neighbor about something he had found at the Goodwill store for them. He was doing good. We all can make these mistakes. That one moment changed everything. The kind of moment that tears a hole in your world and leaves you asking, 17 years later, how could this still be happening? To so many families across Louisiana and across the country, like the Salters who are here today. You know, just last year in May, they were in Speaker Mike Johnson's office sharing their story of losing their daughter. We will never give up, and we will never stop sharing to help you. Since that day, I've joined with other families who've suffered unimaginable loss, mothers, fathers, brothers, sisters, sons, and daughters from across this state and the nation. We've turned our grief into purpose. We're working together to stop this from happening to anyone else, because no family should have to ever go through what we've gone through. And what's especially painful is that this crisis is 100% preventable. Many don't see distractions as a threat that it is. Just how big of a problem is it? Well, knowing how vastly underreported these crashes are, how do we know? Well, we now have new data from NHTSA showing that in 2021, across the nation, there were 12,405 deaths due to distracted driving at a cost of $158 billion. That's more than 1,000 lives a month. Sons, daughters, parents, best friends, gone in an instant. The economic cost of those crashes, does that make you want to change and put your phone down? But the emotional cost, that's something no number could ever capture. The good news is, though, we do have solutions. We know that with the right mix of education, awareness, good laws with strict enforcement, and technology and engineering, we can solve this. We can reduce these crashes. We can keep families together, hopefully before it happens to your family. Laws work. I'm going to talk about Ohio just recently passed their law. Within 1 year of enforcing their law, they saved $238 million, over 15,000 fewer crashes, and 138 fewer fatalities. This can be done, and it can save lives. I read in a story yesterday a quote, though. The most powerful safety feature in your car is you. And now we have readily available solutions you can start using now until we can get stricter laws passed. Technology got us into this mess, and technology can get us out of it. So the first thing you can do, turn on Do Not Disturb on your phone. Every phone comes with this feature in your settings. That's a simple step. Another one of those technologies is telematics. Telematics allows us to measure and give feedback on driving behavior, things like phone use, speeding, hard braking, and of course, distraction behind the wheel. But with this data, it's not just identifying those problems, it's helping drivers fix them. It provides that feedback to coach you into those better habits, and it works. In states and pilot programs that use these telematics programs, we've seen measurable reductions in risky behaviors. Drivers become more self-aware. Parents can see how their teens are driving. Fleets are improving their safety records. And best of all, crashes are going down and lives are being saved. The telematics isn't just about data. It's about accountability and incentives. It opens the door for those safe driver incentive programs where insurance savings and rewards can lead to safer driving habits. We all want to be good drivers. We all think we're good drivers. Telematics gives you the tools to prove that you are a good driver or the feedback to actually become that good driver. Safe driving incentives are backed by data-driven research, proven to reduce crash risk by 25%. Drivers using these programs are demonstrably safer with a 65% reduction in overall crashes and a 57% decrease in distracted driving. This kind of behavioral shift, fueled by feedback and positive reinforcement, can change the culture around driving, and that's how we go from awareness to action. And let me be clear, this is not about blaming drivers. It's about equipping them. Distracted driving is a systemic problem, and we need systemic solutions. That means smarter car technology, better road design, consistent enforcement, honest conversations, and it means working together. Families, lawmakers, law enforcement, the insurance industry, transportation leaders. That's why today matters. Because we stand together. When we speak with one voice, we show that this issue is urgent. We show these deaths are not inevitable, and we commit to doing something about it. Every day and every year that we fail to act on the proven solutions to reduce distracted driving, we let down the families of our friends and our neighbors. Lives are being shattered, not just lost, by crashes that we know how to prevent. Families are burying their children, their parents, their spouses, because we aren't using the tools we have at our fingertips. That's the part that breaks my heart today. These crashes are destroying entire families, and they're completely preventable. So this April, for Distracted Driving Awareness Month, I'm asking all of you to be a part of the change. Educate your communities, push for stronger policies, call your insurance provider and ask about a telematics program and sign up, try it out. Let's lift up the voices of those we've lost and protect the families that still have time. We owe it to our families. We owe it to our future so we can have one. Let's end distracted driving together. We're here. We need you now. Because remember, it's no longer a matter of if this is going to happen to someone you love. It's when. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you so much, Jennifer, for that powerful statement and sharing your story. You know, no matter how many times I've heard you speak it and how many times I'm sure you engage different audiences, it just still resonates because it is so urgent. You know, there's a saying in sports that if you want to win the game, you need to keep your eye on the ball, right? Keep your eye on the ball. You know, you want to win in life, keep your eye on the prize. Well, here's another one. If you want to make it to the game and you want to be able to stay in the game, keep your eye on the road and never give up. I think that's the message you hear today. Never give up. Thank you all so much for your support in showing up and suiting up for this fight and for keeping a focus on what's really important to all of us who are traveling on Louisiana roadways. Thank you all. Well, today's a great day because we are speaking with one voice against what is really a scourge, and that's distracted driving. And so we had featured speakers from State Police, the Colonel and Superintendent of State Police. We also had the Secretary of the Department of Transportation and Development. We had the Commissioner of Insurance, Tim Temple, and then also to put a personal point on what we're talking about, Jennifer Smith, who is the CEO of StopDistractions.org, shared her story, heart-wrenching story about losing her mother to a distracted driving back in 2008, and still bemoaning the fact that 17 years later, so many places in the country, Louisiana included, is still dealing with the gut-wrenching fallout of distracted driving.